is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
And we're back here with another episode of The Breakdown on Kansas City Sports Network. I'm Matt Hamilton. That's Chase Daniel. And Chase, Christmas Day, it was a rough Christmas morning for Chiefs fans. With that loss to the Raiders, the offense was really struggling to get anything going. What's your overall takeaway from all the frustration, all the missed opportunities we saw in that game?
Yeah, I mean, the story of the game's missed opportunities, right? That's what we talked about pre-show. That's what we're going to talk about now. And it's just, it seems to, it's, you know, look, we're 15, 16 weeks into the season, and the Chiefs offense is what they are. Like, there's no changing who they are going forward. And it's a team that struggles to score 20 some odd points a game. And it's really hard to imagine an offense like this with Patrick Mahomes, because that's all Chiefs fans have known the entire time Mahomes been the quarterback, is these crazy, amazing offenses, score lots of points, don't turn the ball over, and everything goes their way pretty much, and the refs are always on their side, it seemed like. And now it's the complete opposite, right? Like they're winning because of their defense, and they started 6-1 and they're 9-6. It's just, there's a chance, bro, that they could not win the AFC West. I mean, look, they got Cincy and they got LA Chargers, and the Chargers, look, they should win that game. They should win the Cincy game, but I thought they should win the Vegas game, and they didn't. Yeah. And there's a way, which I was watching NFL Network Sport, there's still a way that the Las Vegas Raiders could win the AFC West. 2 weeks left in the season. Like, you would have thought by now that Chiefs would have put it away. And it's just the miscues, man. It's the turnovers, it's the drops, it's everything compounding together. And the offensive line isn't playing that well. The run game hasn't been there. It's just everything sort of coming to a head. And I thought, I mean, at least me personally, like, I thought, you know, after 8 to 10 games, they would figure it out and they go on a run. And it just is not the case whatsoever right now.
And it really is shocking, because I was with you. I figured, a lot of young players, some early season issues, they'll just get better and better. But it has just kind of snowballed. It seems like when one thing goes wrong, it sets off a whole chain of events. How is there a way? I know, as you said, this Chiefs offense is what it is at this point, but how do you stop when things start snowballing like that? Is there a way to stop it? Is there anything you can do?
I mean, you just got to have good leadership on the sideline. And look, I thought for the most part this entire year, Patrick has done a really good job at leading. And you see the last few games, he's starting to let his emotions show. And it's just it ends up being a frustrating time for him, because he's doing everything in his power. But when the blocking isn't as good this game, I think you have less time to throw. Teams are doing a really good job of keeping Patrick in the pocket. So they're calling him must rush. Where they don't try to necessarily rush the edges and run by him. They want to keep him in this little four-corner pocket, and teams are doing a really good job. You see Patrick, even this last game, had to use his legs a little bit more, even to run. And that's the biggest thing, is like, teams are just playing man coverage. They're matching up. Like, Kelsey does not look healthy. He just does not look the same in terms of man coverage. And they're just saying, hey, press up. Let's get to him with 4 guys, have a whole player in the inside, have a free safety up top, man up across the board. And the Chiefs have shown time and time again they can't be man coverage.
Yeah, and that's really been the story. And let's dig into some of the plays here, and walk through some of the miscues that we saw on Monday. And we'll start with the pick 6. What did you see here?
Yeah, I mean, look, all they're running is Q8, and Q8 is a sprint right option. It goes back to old school West Coast. It's a play call that Andy Reid always has in his back pocket, and it's just something to get the drive started, or a second and long play. Really, it's just Justin Watson's on the outside here. He should be running a hitch route. Okay, he goes to about 9 yards once we play this, and they have a corner route over top. So you're just high. It's just smash, right? Hammer. That's all it is. And you're reading the hitch to the corner, and right here you're seeing the corner is bailing right here. And so Mahomes actually does a really good job of getting this ball out on time and in rhythm. I mean, I think he takes like 4 steps out of the gun. That's about as quick as you could possibly throw this. And when he's throwing it, the ball's like already left his hand, and you see Justin Watson is still running. And so the eyes in zone coverage of the corner are on Mahomes. So when he sees Mahomes let the ball go, he just drives and makes an unbelievable play. Like you see right here, Kelsey's protecting the edge. In my opinion, and what I have seen of this play, because we had it when I was in KC, it just looks at Justin ran 3 to 4 yards too deep. This should be an easy hitch route at 5 yards, turn around, get a drive going. And this was a play like 7 seconds earlier, they scored another defensive touchdown. Okay, so this is the second defensive touchdown scored in 7 seconds for the Raiders. And so when you score 14 points on defense, and this offense just looked, I mean, for lack of a better word, lethargic at times, like you're going to have a good chance to win the game. And I saw a stat on this channel, and BJ Kissel did a heck of a job doing it. Is like, hey, if they would have scored 22 points in their 6 losses or whatever, how many losses they have, they would have won games. Those are against 7 playoff teams, like 6 different playoff teams. It's wild to me. So it is the offense. It is them not being able to score. The magic number seems to be 22 for these guys, and they're just struggling. That's another thing like about this offense is we're so used to seeing Patrick Mahomes make things look easy, right? And this entire year, defenses have made it tough on him. So to make the big play, it's had to be like superhero 3.0. Where in past, it's just like, hey, stuff's open, we're making big plays, we're rolling on offense. And that's the biggest thing that I see with this offense on film in the All-22 is a lack of big plays.
Yeah, and it's I think there's a misconception too because we all think about, there are so many big Mahomes throws and crazy plays he's made off platform over the years that there's this perception that like he just does that all the time, when in reality, when you really watch the Chiefs games, when they've been at their most successful, it's him operating the offense and guys making plays after the catch. And, yes, you have Mahomes making big plays when he has to, but that's not the entire offense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing that I see is just him. Mahomes at his best is when his receivers can get separation. Yeah. There's just no separation at all. So Mahomes feels like he has to do more. He's pressing. He's throwing more interceptions. Already thrown 14 interceptions this year. His ratings sub 90 or right at 90. And it just isn't working out for him this year.
Yeah, and even a play like this, it's again, there was some debate about this online, and some people thought he should have waited and thrown the corner out, but you see that corner bailing, the read is dictating where he should go with the ball. It's just as you pointed out, just a sloppy route running by Watson. But we'll keep this thing moving. Go to another a key third down play here later in the game. This was the play that had Kelsey throwing his helmet in frustration after it happened. What did you see here?
Well, I love the pre-snap motion. They start in FIB, which is formation and boundary. And all it is right here is you're going to get just a clear out route up top. Kelsey's going to try to pick for a shallow cross coming underneath right here. I think it's Rashee Rice. And that's just what it is. I mean, Kelsey's trying to pick. He's getting smashed together by 2 dudes and just trying to pick some guys out. And it just this is a simple play for the Chiefs. This is a play that the Chiefs call shallow cross. And when you don't have time to even step up in the pocket, okay, first of all, you can't let the play develop. So you're outside of the pocket, and then this is the play that teams have seen all the time. And Kelsey has a 5 to 10 yard hook over the ball, and you got a shallow cross coming underneath it. And when you're getting edged by the left tackle and the left defensive end, you got 2 pass rushers like Crosby or Max Crosby and this other guy who's playing at an extremely high level. It's just hard. Like, there's nothing open. Like, where do you want Mahomes to go with the football? Like, that's just what the thing is. Like, look, they're using motion. They motion across. They get set. They're motion back. They're trying to disguise a play that they've been running since I was there. And it just doesn't seem to be working for them at all because they're just running normal stuff. That's the thing. But their normal stuff they're dropping 8 too. So shallow cross when you're dropping 8 doesn't help either.
Yeah, and you mentioned the mush rushing before and, trying to keep Mahomes contained. Do you think there's opportunities he's missing sometimes to step up in the pocket more? I know that typically hasn't been what he's done and made him successful, but with defenses adjusting to him, are there adjustments he can make back?
I mean, look, if you look right here, if he steps up in the pocket, yeah, it probably works. And everyone with a clicker can easily pause, hey, you should have stepped up there. That's not what Mahomes is, though. Like, Mahomes isn't a step up into the pocket guy. They didn't build their offensive line like that. They build that offensive line to rush these these defensive ends pass, have them step up, B gap, A gap, and get out. Or C gap, not A gap. And so I think that's sort of just what Mahomes has been. And you knew it was going to happen. Like eventually, like you're going to find out this offense. You're going to find out what Mahomes does well. I mean, defense coordinators that are playing him, he's the best quarterback in football. So people are going to be studying him nonstop on how to try and stop him. And as you know, Hammer, right, it's a copycat league. So when one defense is able to put something, even if it's one or two plays on tape on how to try to maybe contain Patrick Mahomes, there's going to be 31 other defense coordinators that are going to try the same if they play him. And so that's sort of what you're seeing right here.
Yeah, and I think one of the first guys that really, exposed some things, or, I don't want to say exposed because it's still, Mahomes is still great. It's still great. But Lou Anarumo and the Bengals, he was one of the first ones that was willing to get aggressive, because I think there's always been this fear, too, with the Chiefs of giving up big plays. And we're seeing teams be a lot more aggressive in coverage, as you mentioned, playing a lot more man, pressing more, because some of that fear is gone. And I think Lou Anarumo, this weekend's opponent, was one of the first ones to kind of do that.
Yeah, and look, Cincy's defense isn't the same personnel-wise as they were like when they were having some clashes a year, 2 years ago, et cetera. But it's going to be a tough task for sure at hand. I mean, it's a tough task for anyone right now against that offense, because they're just not able to get the big play. Yeah,
absolutely. And a prime example of that was late in the game, a 4th and goal. This would have, I really think if they score here, I think the Chiefs probably win this game. But once again, there's just nothing there. What jumped out to you here?
Yeah, what was the score at this point? 20-7?
It was 20-7. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love the fact that they went for it on 4th and goal. I mean, I like it. And the primary right here, it's a play they've run a lot. It's this trips bunch formation. Everyone's inside the numbers. There's 11 Chiefs players inside the numbers. So you try to get some access, which you see all these defenders are off and free access. And all you're going to run is Kelsey in a little choice route. So he's going to arc release. You're going to have a quarter route by Rashee Rice. So you're trying to, by Justin Watson out there on the far edge, you're just trying to clear out the free safety. And so this is a pretty good job, pretty good call. It's 4th and 7. So I'm telling you right now, this is a 3rd down call for Andy Reid. So he stretched it. It's usually between 3rd and 4 to 6. So he stretched it right here an extra yard. I don't know if that extra yard, because it's 4th and 7, I don't know, in goal, I don't know if it would have helped. But you see here, look, Mahomes stares the guy down because that's really what he does. And there's a hole player is what we call in cover one hole. So Kelsey's going to have outside leverage. You see the free safety in the middle of the field coming over as well. And there's 3 defenders. There's 3 eyes on Kelsey, right? Like Kelsey's the number 1 right here. And Mahomes has to get rid of the ball again as he's getting hit to Rashee Rice on a corner route, which is quite honestly just not open. Like it'd take a superhero throw and catch for this to happen. I just think that the whole guy, as you see there in the right B gap, he steps up to the trips bunch side, and it's to Kelsey. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like teams are focusing and concentrating on, let's just take away Kelsey. If we take away Kelsey, and look, MVS might beat us, Rashee Rice might beat us every once in a while. Justin Watson seems to have a play every once in a while. Like if we can hold them down, or Kelsey down, and maybe double team them or send a whole player exactly what they're doing right here to go double them, even have the free safety look at them because they know when they need to play, it's Kelsey. They just haven't found a way to free Kelsey really at all this year.
Yeah, it's been a struggle, and but if there's one opponent with the way things have been going lately that might present some opportunities and then break out a little bit, it might be the Bengals, because as you said, they've had some issues personnel-wise this year. I think losing Jesse Bates and Von Bell this offseason has tremendously impacted that secondary. They're 31st in total defense right now, and then of late, losing DJ Reader in the middle has caused some big issues. We just saw Mason Rudolph have a monster game against the secondary. So what are you seeing with the Bengals right now? And could this be a week where the Chiefs do get things going?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the biggest story of the year, obviously, with the Bengals is Joe Burrow, and how Jake Browning, I think, has stepped in and played really well. He's going to have a really tough task, Jake Browning, as against this Chiefs defense. I just don't see in a world where the Bengals can score over 14 points against this defense. I really don't. So the key number is 15. Chiefs, all you got to get to is 15. They are banged up, like you said, and look, it would be amazing. Like, I think the Chiefs are going to win, but wouldn't it be amazing, like, if you just were able to put up 30 on offense, right? And just feel good about yourself going into the last game of the year, clinch the AFC West. Like, you probably get a home playoff. You will get a home playoff game. And then depending on what happens, you're probably going to have to go on the road, which we've never seen Patrick Mahomes do. But, like, this little last 2 weeks of the season is really important from a standpoint of feeling good and building confidence through your team and through yourself. And the Chiefs have a really good opportunity to do that. Like, just go and bury the next two opponents and just say, hey, you know what? Let's go into the playoffs on a little bit of a high. Let's ride some confidence into the playoffs. And that's the biggest thing going forward for these next 2 weeks for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and you're right. I feel like people forget the human aspects of this game. Like, these players are all human beings. And right now, everything just seems so tight. Every time there's a mistake, there's frustration, there's yelling, there's helmets being thrown in. And as we talked about earlier, it just kind of compounds. You're just establishing some good feelings here down the stretch. I know it sounds fun. We can talk all the X's and O's we want, but confidence and feeling positive about what you're doing can make all the difference, right?
It's more than half the battle, man. It's like, yeah, look, everyone knows what the Chiefs are. Everyone knows the plays they're running. And there's only so much you can do to try to trick defensive coordinators and offensive coordinators, so forth and so on. So this part of the year, it's about building camaraderie, man. Like, continuing to just practice and practice. You've gone through 16, 17, 20 weeks of practice with training camp. So let's just build off the practice. Let's actually put it to work on the football field and see where it gets us.
Yeah, and it's gonna be interesting to watch this weekend to see if they can build some of that, get a win over the Bengals, finally lock up this AFC West. Whatever happens, we'll be right back here to break it down for you next week. And Chase, I know you're down to Dallas right now. Go Tigers! Let's get that win.
Maybe let's go big time.
Let's get that win over Ohio State, and we'll see you here next week to break down everything Chiefs.